Hey guys, it's Haley and welcome to another bookish video. I hope you are enjoying the Haley-ween daily content. It's really important to me to post a video every single day of Haley-ween. I don't know why. Nobody put that in my head. It just was there. So here we are for another day of Haley-ween. We're either gonna have a vlog or a recommendation video every single day of Happy Haley-ween. It's my readathon. I hope you're participating. If you are, let me know, DM me on Instagram. I love to repost all of y'all's TBRs, your progress, how you're doing. Talk to me, tell me what you're thinking about the books, and I hope you're enjoying the content. Of course, today we have a highly anticipated video. I feel like I've been reading a ton of books for this topic throughout the year, honestly. All of 2023, I've been reading a lot of books that are about clowns, that are about carnivals, that are about like fairs. I love that niche. That is like one of my favorite settings to read from, especially this time of year. It just feels so fall, so fun, but it also works for like the summer. And I don't know, I love a carnival moment, especially for horror. I've been reading a ton of books in that little subcategory of horror and thrillers, and y'all, let me tell you, I've read some bad ones. None of those are going to be featured in this video because we are going to be talking about my top 12 horror and thriller books, and I actually have a fantasy thrown in there as well because I love it so much. Before we get into it, I do have a couple things that I want to tell you about. The first thing is my merch. So this hoodie that I'm wearing right now is a part of my merch collection. It says "Not Your Fucking Final Girl" because here's the thing. Girls that love horror, yeah, we are not just these guys trope. Okay? It is no secret that horror is mostly made up of white straight men, and they are notoriously not super welcoming to really anyone who is not exactly like them. So, we are not their fucking final girl. We are not just a trope for them to talk about how great our boobs look with blood running down them as we emerge as the final girl from the slaughter. Like, no. We are people. We are more than a trope. So if you like this design, it is up on my merch website on Bonfire. I will have it linked down below. There's that. That's what I'm wearing if you're wondering about that. Also, I have something else that I'm very excited to tell you about. This is not a sponsorship, actually. I just got this package in the mail and I wanted to share it with y'all because it arrived at my doorstep right before I sat down to film and I freaked out. So I got a box from Aardvark Book Club, which I didn't really know about. I hadn't heard a lot about, but y'all, if you have not heard about this, let me put you on because they sent me, you can't even imagine what I'm about to show you. Okay, so Aardvark is basically a book subscription service, like a monthly book subscription service. Okay, we all have heard of that. We know the deal. You pay a monthly fee for the book service and every month you get a book. It's like a club of sorts where you pay your monthly membership and you get a new hardcover book for a discounted price. They have picks, blah, blah, blah. Well, these girls are doing it differently. When I saw the picks that they had, first of all, this little thing shows like their past year of picks if you want to pause and look at it. I was astounded. Like, I was really astounded by the picks in here. Look at what they sent me. I was gonna buy all these books. Like, these were all highly anticipated for me. Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. Okay, yeah, almost bought that at Target literally yesterday. Rouge by Mona Awad. And the last one, Perfectly Nice Neighbors by Kia Abdullah. Kia Abdullah, my queen, my underrated thriller queen. Yeah. So I opened this box thinking, okay, another book service. Oh my God, I just dropped the fucking box. I opened the box thinking, okay, just another book service. No, look at these pics. What? And I love their branding so much. So thank you so much to Aardvark for sending these books over. I cannot wait to read all of these for you guys. If you want to check out Aardvark and get some of these picks for yourself, they were so kind to give me a code. So my code is Haley Ann. Every time there's an A, there's two A's. HAAILEYAANN. Haley Ann. My Instagram handle, it's the same exact as my Instagram handle. Use that and you can get your first Aardvark book pick for $4. Free shipping, $4. One of those books you can get for $4. Are you shitting me? Like, I'm sorry, are you shitting me? That's crazy. Like, this isn't sponsored. I'm just blown away. Like, I was reading their little thing they sent and I was like, no, because I gotta let y'all know about that. Like, if you could get one of those picks for $4, I would run the way I would run. So please use my code and go get yourself a $4 new release hardcover book. Like, hello. Anyway, rambles over, and let's go ahead and get into the carnival recommendations. Usually when we do these top 12 recommendation videos, I like to work my way up to like my favorite of the favorites, but really I just have to kick it off with my favorite book that has this kind of trope setting atmosphere, Wonderland by Jennifer Hillier. Like, no one is doing it like Jennifer Hillier. We've been over this. Y'all know this. Jennifer Hillier is my queen. I haven't given any of her books below 4 stars. I love everything she's ever written, and she does the carnival trope so well in Wonderland. So in this book, it's a thriller. If you're not a horror girly, you can definitely get into this. Her books, most of them, I would say 90% of them, have a good romance.
Caught in a bad romance.
They have a good little romance subplot as well. She's just really dynamic. She knows how to write really interesting dynamic characters. I have a whole video going through her entire backlist and ranking it, so I will link that up above and down below if you want to hear more about her. But in Wonderland, we are following this female detective who is new to this small town, and she is astounded by the way that things are run here. Apparently boys that work at this amusement park called Wonderland have just been going missing for years, and she's like, what the F, like, y'all are just not gonna figure it out. I will step up and do it. It takes a fucking woman, like it does. So she steps up and she starts to uncover the darkness underneath the lore of Wonderland, this iconic carnival. And it feels like a big risk for the town because the town basically gets their entire like economy from tourists coming to visit Wonderland. So if Wonderland goes down, it feels like the whole town can go down with it. And this is really dark, but it has that really fun, exciting carnival atmosphere. The book actually opens with a guy scaling the Ferris wheel, like free climbing, and it is so suspenseful. It's so tense. The twists in this book are phenomenal. The romance subplot is phenomenal. The atmosphere is phenomenal. The characters are great. I love this one. If you're gonna take one carnival recommendation from this video, let it be this. And let's get into another banger right off the bat. This one I love just as much as Wonderland, but it's different. It's for different reasons. And that is Fantastic Land by Mike Bakoven. Oh my God. I don't have this book in my possession right now because I've literally been passing it around to everyone I know. Like, you have to read this book. It is so good. We are following the wake of a natural disaster. Basically, the worst hurricane that has ever hurricaned has hit Florida and hit this amusement park called Fantastic Land. And the government just kind of assumed like, oh, the people who are quarantined, stuck over in Fantastic Land, they have a ton of resources like food, backup generators, heat, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're fine. We can get to them last with our rescue efforts in this like post-hurricane cleanup. So the people in Fantastic Land that are stuck there during the hurricane are stuck there for over a month while the government tries to get their like rescue operations together, and things go bad. It's like a Lord of the Flies, every man for themselves, like gang situation. Cannibalism happens, murder happens, heads on stakes happen, and the book follows these events in like a mockumentary type of style. As I was reading, I kept having to remind myself that this in fact was fiction because it reads like a true crime documentary where all these survivors of the event are coming forward and basically telling their experience being stuck in Fantastic Land. It is just such a wild concept to think about. What if you were stuck, quarantined, possibly injured, starving inside of a amusement park, and there might be people outside your ride where you're quarantining trying to kill you. Ooh, I say that and I just get the chills. This book also has 2 chapters that I literally felt full body fear while I was reading it. Like, I don't get scared by horror books. I don't get scared by horror movies, but this one is an exception. It felt so real. I highly recommend it. Now let's take a little bit of a different direction into YA land. Y'all know that I love the Fear Street books. They're just so nostalgic and such pure fun. They're so easy to read. I don't know why more people don't read them, because like horror girlies, like this is what we're looking for, honestly. You don't want to read 400 pages of like somebody going off on tangents about boobs. You know where that doesn't happen? Fear Street. So these are just short, sweet little horror books, and slashing happens, and this is the offshoot that takes place at a carnival. It's about Fear Park. It's called the Fear Park trilogy. There's 1, 2, and 3. I have not gotten to 3 yet, but they've just gotten better. Like 1 was great, and then 2 was even better. 2 is actually like wild. Like there are some crazy deaths, and that is one of my favorite things about having a horror book set at a carnival or amusement park. Like the contraptions, the popcorn machines of it all. There's like an animal show at Fear Park, and that comes into play for one of the deaths. Like, oh my god, it is just pure slasher at a carnival vibes. And then of course we have like the lore of Fear Street and the Fear family that doesn't want Fear Park being built on their land, so they're getting their ghostly revenge. Oh my god, so good. Another YA book that I think does this trope really, really well is Tastes Like Candy. I absolutely love this one. I read it on KU last year, and again, it was just pure fun. Was it predictable? Yes. Was it super shocking? No. But did I have so much more fun reading this than a lot of the other carnival horror books I read in preparation for this video? Yeah, this is about this like last senior, I guess it's kind of like a senior, not a prank, but like a senior skip day kind of thing, where all the seniors at this high school get, there's like a decision if they get invited to do this scavenger hunt where they skip a day of school and they go to this abandoned carnival and do this little scavenger hunt. And while they're doing this scavenger hunt, they start getting picked off one by one by one, and we are trying to figure out who this masked killer is. It is a traditional slasher with that good fall carnival atmosphere. So good. Like I said, not too deep, like pretty predictable, but I just had so much fun with it. It was like, I don't know, it read like Scooby-Doo or something. I just loved it. Back into something that is a bit more serious and less light. We have Fierce Kingdom by Jen Phillips. This one I feel is super underrated. It doesn't quite take place at like a carnival, but it takes place at a zoo, so I feel like it's related. There are also a few scenes with like rides, and you know, a zoo has like a similar atmosphere to an amusement park sometimes. So we are following this mom and her son, and they get trapped in the zoo during an active shooter situation. So we are following them over the course of a few hours. This book is so breakneck, fast-paced, and tense as they are trying to survive this active shooter situation. And there are so many moral dilemmas in here. You're basically imagining yourself in this horrifying situation and thinking, what the hell would I do? I don't know. So you're on our character's team the entire time as she makes these impossible decisions and tries to escape with her life. So exciting, so tense, so riveting. The horror is horroring. Like, it is actually a horrifying situation, but I think it reads more similar to a thriller, so it works for all different types of readers. Now, this next one is not for all different types of readers, and that is The Clown Hunt by Judith Sonnet. This is an extreme horror book, and it is a slasher. Basically, it takes the clown trope and turns it on its head. Instead of killer clowns, we have clowns being the victims of an evil, like, mob of civilians that's like, we're done being terrorized by clowns. We're gonna pick off all the clowns, which is a hilarious concept. But they basically start hunting down these clowns. It is a crazy, intense, extreme horror slasher. I've recommended it a ton. I believe it's on KU. If you like extreme horror and you like a slasher, you just want that extra little carnival clown twist, this is a great option. And I know I mentioned at the top, y'all, I got a fantasy wreck in here. And everyone was probably like, what is she actually talking about? I don't read fantasy. I don't enjoy fantasy a lot of the time. Even when I try it out, it just like, it doesn't hit for me the way horror and thrillers do. But I'm obsessed with this book, like actually obsessed. It lives in my mind rent free. I think about it like twice a week. I'm not even kidding, especially this time of year. This time of year is the perfect time to read this book, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Oh my God. I love this book so much. It is a little bit dark and a little bit magical, but I definitely would not call it horror. It is firmly in fantasy, and there's a little bit of romance in here. So we are following this magical competition between these two kids, a girl and a boy, and as they grow up, they don't know, but their fates are intertwined, and they're basically in this thing where like only one can live. Like the curse, it is this just like magical duel, and they're trying to outdo the other one in like their circus presentations in this magical circus that pops up out of nowhere. Yeah, it is crazy. The atmosphere is so amazing. Like the atmosphere that's in this book is the atmosphere I would like to live in at all times. Like, you know that question where people are like, if you could live in a fictional world, like anywhere for all time, but you like only can choose one place, I would choose to live in the Night Circus. I am a stan. I know a lot of people don't like this book. They say it's slow. I am fine with a slow book if it's an atmosphere that I want to spend a lot of time in. And the romance in this book, the like enemies to lovers, but I kind of need to kill you, and we're doing like magical circus tricks. Oh my God, like how could you not love that? This book is emotional. I cried, but it's also dark and thrilling at some parts of it. I really think more horror and thriller readers need to give this one a try, because I am so fantasy resistant, but this is the one that she got me. She got me. And next up, we're gonna continue to go back to my roots and where I'm comfortable in extreme horror land. I would recommend this as an intro to extreme horror because I don't think it's too intense. The only thing that's super, super intense about this one is like blood, guts, body horror. So if you don't like that, not for you. But if you're trying to get into extreme horror, this one has all of that stuff without a ton of like gratuitous sexual violence, which I appreciate, and also adequate trigger warnings. And that is Cotton Candy Massacre by Christopher Robertson. This was one of my favorite books of last year, and the sequel just came out. I don't love the sequel as much as the original, but I absolutely loved this one. We are following this carnival, again, obviously, that has been like derelict and broken down for years and years and years because a tragedy happened and the park had to shut down in like the 80s. But now she's coming back, and the spirits of the people who tragically passed in the 80s might still be stuck in this amusement park, and they might come back. And on the grand opening day, it might turn into like the craziest, most chaotic, bloody slasher with demon clowns you could ever imagine. And the final girl in this book, she's me. I love her. I love the characters in this book. They're just like so campy, fun, nostalgic. Like this book reads as nostalgic. I love it. I love everything about it. The vibes, the blood, the guts, the gore. Give it to me. This is another one. I wouldn't necessarily want to live in it because I would probably die, but the atmosphere is top tier. Next up, let's talk about another one of my longtime favorites, and that is Cirque Berserk. Oh my God. I feel like I'm gonna credit myself for a lot of people having read this book, because I feel like I was the first person to really rave about her. I discovered her on KU, and she is a standout, okay? If you have KU, you need to run and download this book, especially for fall time. It's another carnival slasher, but there's a little like magical realism element to it. So this bus full of high school students, I believe they're like on their senior trip or something. Wow, what a weird theme that we're seeing here. Their bus stops at like this broken down derelict park, and they go in and they're like, we're teens, we're seniors, we're crazy, we're gonna break in here and smoke weed and drink vodka and have sex sucks. And it's like, of course you are. But the teens who died there in the past, yeah, they might be resenting you and your youth and your zest for life. So they might have to take care of you in some pretty horrifying, interesting, and entertaining ways. That little like magical realism element is so fun to me. It's like a twist on a traditional slasher. It's short, it's not too long. The pacing is great. The atmosphere is top tier. It has 80s vibes to it. I love it. Seriously, this is one of my favorites on this entire list. I definitely wouldn't say that Cirque Berserk is extreme horror, but it does have that same level of intense body horror, and I appreciate that as well. And switching back to YA, wow, I did not realize how many YA books we have on this list. I usually don't love YA, but I guess in this setting, something about it just works. We have Full Tilt by Neil Shusterman. Oh my god, this book is not just like your average carnival slasher. This one has a lot of commentary, a lot of meaning, a lot of like life lesson content in here, which didn't feel forced at all. I actually really appreciated it, and like the commentary on trauma and how it lives with you. Oh my god, it's just beautiful, and I feel like it's appropriate for all ages. Like any reader can pick this up and love it. I feel like young horror readers would really, really appreciate this one. It's following this group of boys that is very like Stranger Things-esque, very nostalgic, and one of them, his brother, gets trapped in this magical amusement park that pops up out of nowhere. And he's like, come on guys, we gotta go in and try to save him. And as they do, they are put through all of these mystical, magical, horrifying carnival rides, and they have to survive and like defy death on these rides. And there's like 7 different rides, and each ride is not just a ride, it's also like a mental challenge. So there's like that psychological aspect, and they have to get through them all to get to the end for him to save his brother. It's emotional, it's sweet, but it's also exciting and thrilling and suspenseful, and the different like levels. I love when a book has like tasks and like levels, you know what I mean? Like you're counting along with the character. I feel like it just lends itself to really great pacing. And there's like 7 different tasks or like rides that he has to get through in the book. So it just flows really well. It's easy to read. It's interesting. It's nostalgic. Like this book is everything. I think it's won a ton of awards, and I understand why. And we have another YA book on this list, Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesare. Oh my gosh. I love this book. I didn't expect much going into this book when I first read it, but I ended up really loving it. We are again following a group of teens in a small town getting ready to go to this fall carnival, and things go off the rails when this group of killer clowns starts just slashing everybody. And there's this whole conspiracy underneath. This book has that type of commentary where it's like, it goes all the way up to the top. And I like that kind of commentary. I think it has to be done well. Sometimes this one is a little cringe, a little heavy-handed, but I don't despise it for that. I think it kind of makes it a little bit campy and like very YA, but I was super entertained by it. And honestly, the blood, guts, the slashing, all this in here for a YA book, it's pretty impressive. I did not love the second one. If you're thinking about reading this and then picking up the second one, I would hesitate. This one relies on a lot of like creative kills, blood, guts, stuff like that. And the second one is mainly gun violence, which I didn't love that like pivot. So do keep that in mind when you're thinking about picking up the sequel, but this one I absolutely loved. And the last book I have to recommend you on this list, I believe you can only get as an ebook. That's how I read it, and I haven't heard many other people talk about it. I actually got this recommendation from Cat Chats. Y'all know I shout out her channel all the time. I literally love her. I think she has some of the best recommendations on BookTube. If you're looking for a smaller channel with really niche, really great recommendations, please go subscribe to Kat. She's the only person that I heard talk about this book, and I picked it up because of her. That is Welcome to Smileyland by Spencer Hamilton, and this is a really short, really fast-paced, straightforward, to the point carnival slasher with evil demon clowns, creative kills. Like, we're talking cotton candy machine kills, we're talking roller coaster kills. Like, this one is just creative and fun. The pacing is a little weird. I will say there were points where I was like, whoa, what's happening? Like, it's really chaotic feeling, and I don't know if I like it or hate it. Like, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I had a great time with it, and there's really extensive LGBTQIA rep in this book, which I really appreciated. We're also, I believe, following one of our main characters as non-binary, so that is nice representation as well. And yeah, this one was just a ton of fun, and I feel like not a lot of people have heard about it, so welcome to Smileyland. And that is gonna be it for today's top 12 recs video. I hope you guys got a couple of good recommendations and you're having so much fun participating in Happy Hailey-ween. Don't forget to use my code HaileyAnn to get your first Aardvark Book Club book for $4. I literally think that's such a crazy deal. I can't even tell you. Like, this video is not sponsored. I don't know how many times I can say that. It feels fake, but like, this box just showed up my door and I was like, I have to tell the girls. So go take advantage of that deal. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to go to therapy and read a book this week, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!